We move on to the online presentation. A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. John the Master. It's my privilege to introduce the eminent speaker, Dr. Jebamalai Vinanchiarachi, who is the renowned expert on sustainable development with over 30 years of experience in the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Vienna, Austria. Sir has served in various capacities and eventually retired as the principal advisor to the Director General of the UNIDO. To add to his credentials, Sir is a recipient of several awards at state and national levels. To mention a few, Sir was awarded the Professional Excellence Award by the Auckland-based Inter-Youthment Business Association in recognition of his great contribution to the international community. Sir is also the recipient of the Global Excellence Award given by Global Indian Association. In 2017, Sir was given the Intake of the Millennium Award by the KC Foundation. The Vienna-based Kerala community gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award in recognition of his work. On behalf of the organizing team of Central University of Tamil Nadu, we welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much, Honorable Vice Chancellor. Am I audible? Is it clear? Okay. Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Central University of Tamil Nadu, Professor M. Krishnan, esteemed Chief Guest of Honor, Professor E. Kanaka Sabhabadi, distinguished speakers, and dear participants. I am extremely grateful to the organizers for giving me this unique opportunity to be part of this great discussion on the book titled Modi at 20, Dreams Meet Delivery. I will take the liberty of spending 1 minute on each chapter to reflect on the content contained therein in the light of what I saw across countries and continents. Let me start with chapter 1, why Modi is the undisputed youth icon. I met our Honorable Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi, in Kanyakumari, in my village, 5 years ago. And every time after that, when I see him on the screen, I find in him further youthfulness. My feeling is that he is growing younger and younger as he grows old, because he is adding life to years and not years to life. Reference is made to holistic development in this chapter, which is very good. In fact, if you look at the contours and tenets of the new education policy, each policy intervention, each program is attuned to the total personality development of young boys and girls. And the tinkering lab at the school level and the innovation mission at the university level, they are all designed, coined to strengthen the total personality of the so-called holistic personality. If the author had made a reference to the role of the new education policy in strengthening the holistic personality of the youth, this would have added to the completeness and correctness of this chapter. Now I move to the next chapter. New grammar of women empowerment. Great poet Bharati talked a great deal about and wrote a great deal about the equality of women and men, comparing them with the right eye and left eye. So among the two eyes, you cannot discriminate. The two eyes are equal. But our Prime Minister bestowed a very high degree of confidence on women and gave opportunity to demonstrate their superiority over men occasionally. You can see he made women as the Minister for Commerce and Trade, then promoted us as Minister for Defense, Women Minister for Defense. So the degree of confidence bestowed upon. And then he made her the finance minister, which is the nerve center. The Ministry of Finance is the nerve center of Indian economy. And she got enough opportunity and very systematically, scientifically, professionally demonstrated her superiority, even yesterday in the parliament. The way he gave compelling reasons and convincing arguments and perfect logical sequence of thoughts to just answer the frontal attack made by critics. I think the whole country appreciated that. So I think the credit goes to our Honorable Prime Minister for his decision to give equal importance and some occasionally more importance to women because he bestows a very high degree of confidence. Chapter 3 is titled The Success of People-Centric Approach. See, the success of people-centric approach depends on interventions which are underpinned by proper sensitization of each intervention, each policy intervention, each institutional assistance should have proper sensitization and right target beneficiaries and get the local people empowered in the process and make tangible impacts. Tangible impact means you should be able to see the impact and compact through your eyes. That's called tangible impact. And sustainability. Sustainability is the most important aspect of any intervention. And then you will be able to spread the benefits of growth. This is what is called people-centric approach. A country may just generate a high rate of growth. Take the example of African countries. When the commodity prices go up globally, they all grow very fast. And the growth is to the tune of 7 to 9% in some countries because they are all primary commodity exporters. They are at the bottom of the ladder of value addition. They just export primary commodity, export cocoa and buy imported chocolates. Their own, based on their own cocoa. This is, take any commodity in Africa. It's actually commodity tragedy. So during the high prices of when the global prices for commodities go up, they grow. But that growth based on commodity price pushed many more millions into the poverty trap. It is actually the evidence is furnished in the World Development Report published by the World Bank. That commodity-led growth pushed many more millions into the poverty trap. But on the other hand, you look at the development experience of newly industrializing countries and emerging economies, they are all climbing the ladder of value addition. So the growth generated by value-added products, generation of value-added products will lift many more millions out of the poverty trap. In simple terms, if we are not able to spread the benefits of growth, there will be growth without development. And then chapter 4, Modi, the Bhagirath Bharayasi, the famous king. The famous king is known for bringing Ganga to earth. And if you read the chapter, you will be totally convinced that Modi is capable of bringing Ganga to Kanyakumari. Now I move to the next chapter, Democracy, Delivery, and the Politics of Hope, written by Sri Amit. Now, this is a brilliant chapter, to be honest. When I read the chapter, I was reminded of two cruel statements made by two eminent persons on democracy. Lee Kuan, the former premier of Singapore, who converted a fishing village into a global powerhouse, commercial powerhouse. 3 days before breathing his last, he said, for development, there is no need for democracy. I was stunned to silence when I read the statement. Very, very cruel statement on democracy. What he said was, you first use highly regulated framework and even dictatorship, good dictatorship which can ensure good governance. Create some level of education among the people, achieve some level of development, and life should be no longer the fight for basics. Then he introduced democracy. That was his ideological conviction. That's why he made that statement. For development, there is no. And then Paul Collier, the famous Oxford University professor who wrote the famous book, The Bottom Billion. He was totally fed up with the rampant corruption in Africa. At one point, he made a very bad statement about the whole thing. And in some countries, corruption is under the table. In some countries, it is over the table. In some countries, the table itself is corrupt. And I was in one of the African countries. I will not mention the name of the country. I just asked one guy because I had a very bad experience at the airport with an immigration officer. He demanded something, and I said, I want to talk to your supervisor. He said, gentlemen, my supervisor will be more expensive. Better you deal with me and go. And when I told him that a friend of mine, don't you have honest people in this country? He said, yes, we do have honest people. They are little more expensive. This is what he said. So this professor has seen this type of corruption. So he made a statement that he would prefer a good dictator who can ensure good governance to democratically elected corrupt persons. This is what he said. If a good dictator can conceptualize, formulate, implement, audit, and monitor excellent policy instruments with a high degree of transparency and accountability, making indelible impact on the welfare of the people, he would prefer that person to democracy. Now, why I am saying it? That the author says democracy should deliver, democracy should, and politics should inculcate hope. And you all will agree with me, there is a strong determination on the part of the government, led by Modi ji, to create create a very strong infrastructural base now, excellent utility services. And we would see to it that there is no longer fight for basics. And he is trying to do this not with the dictatorship, but along with the democracy, using democracy as an effective means. This is the difference. The chapter is very well written, and I think it is worthy of appreciation. And then comes changing elections and electioneering. I think in 1987, Modi was appointed by the High Command of BJP to be in charge of the Ahmedabad municipal election. They never won there. And during the election campaign, he somehow convinced the leaders, BJP leaders, saying that if you can just tell the people, if we come to power, we will ensure good governance. We will change the governance system of the Ahmedabad municipality. And he won the election. That was his first experience. In fact, when he assumed office as chief minister at the request of Vajpayee, he was not even an MLA. And drawing on his rich experience in series of election campaigns, he really removed money and muscular power as the key determinants of winning election. We are all witnessing this. And the next chapter is thinking big. It is important to make optimistic claims about our potential. Sometimes people say the pessimist is an optimist with experience. No. And if someone looks at the half a glass of water, the pessimist will say is half empty. The optimist will say half full. Everything depends on the approach. Somebody was sent to Africa once to assess the market potential for chappals, a company producing chappals. And that guy came and told the company that, oh, it's impossible to sell chappals there because they don't wear chappals. It happened in the 1940s. And then an optimist went there. He said, it is true that they don't wear chappals, but if we are able to capture even 5% of the market, make 5% of the people, we would spend millions of dollars. And the company followed the advice of the optimist, and they were spending money like anything. So what, in optimism about what? Optimism about our potential. Hitherto, what we have achieved is definitely not proportionate to our potential. We all know that. India encompasses a huge reservoir of resources. You name any, it's there. But our performance is so far hitherto not proportionate to potential. So three challenges are there. Our challenge is to convert our resource-based comparative advantages into competitiveness. Then we have to convert our commodities into value-added products, high value-added products. See, products can be classified into primary products, low-tech products, medium-tech products, high-tech products, and sophisticated products. High-tech products and sophisticated products account for 87% of manufacturing, global manufacturing value added and global trade. If this is the global reality, the question is, you want to be part of it as out of context. So we have to add value to the product. And the next challenge is to target communities, get people empowered in the development process, and spread the impact of that. So in order to address these challenges, the new approach is we not only try to convert our resource-based comparative advantages into competitiveness, but also try to enhance our global competitiveness, even without resource-based comparative advantage, using human ingenuity as the infinite source of wealth creation. And the government is very much at it. And then next one is towards prosperous India. See, prosperity is essentially a function of policy choice. Policy interventions will have to serve as new growth impulses, rekindling new and dynamic sources of growth. And that's why some countries, after the oil shock, economists predicted that the growth prospects of all developing countries would be completely doomed. It was only after the oil shock many countries emerged, many developing countries emerged as newly industrializing countries. And it was only after the oil shock we achieved high degree of energy efficiency. We achieved economic efficiency, ecological compliance, and social inclusion. I still remember I used to drive a Lambretta of 1920s vintage when I was a lecturer. It was covering only 7 kilometers per liter of petrol. Today, the two-wheeler covers 70 kilometers per liter of petrol. So this is efficiency. So there should always be a crisis. Without crisis, you cannot find solutions. So we have to make optimistic claims about our potential and make and even try to enhance the global competitiveness of our products without resource-based comparative advantages, even using human ingenuity as the infinite source of wealth creation, as demonstrated by Singapore. Okay, next one is micro revolution, the improvement of livelihoods. Right. I think micro enterprises will flourish only when institutional technical assistance and business support services are rendered by the government as free good. If you look at the micro enterprises, small and micro enterprises in industrially well-developed locations, and look at the role of the regional development agencies, Wales Development Agency, Scottish Enterprise. And these regional development agencies in dynamic industrial locations are virtually babysitting enterprises. Babysitting, when I said that, you have to render technical assistance and business support services and market intelligence network in order for them to thrive in an internationally competitive environment. In an internationally competitive environment, it is not the question of the survival of the biggest or smallest, but the fastest. Only those who keep pace with the rapidly changing facets of processing, design, and marketing will survive. Others will fall apart. So now I just move to the next one, private enterprise and nation building. There should be no overbelief on private enterprise because private sector misbehaves. The misbehavior of Lakshman Brothers triggered global economic crisis in 2007 and 2008. We know that because private sector is always tempted to misbehave. What is needed is market-based public activism to promote the private sector, or market-based public activism to right the wrong. Look at what is happening to G5 auction. The money we are spending. How much? I think it's more than 1,56,000 yesterday, something like that, crores, compared to what happened to the previous one. So here, the market-based public activism is effectively institutionalized to right the wrong. And this is very well captured here. And then environmental sustainability and economic development. Now, it is empirically proved that economic efficiency is compatible with ecological compliance. Now, what is economic efficiency? You produce optimal output at the least cost combination of factors of production. Okay, you use the incidence of technical progress to achieve efficiency gains. And you thrive in a competitive environment only through efficiency gains. But when you turn out to products complying with the international standards and quality control norms, you demonstrate efficiency, and that is totally compliant with, consistent with the ecological compliance. And it is also corroborated by social inclusion. All these things will eventually lead to wealth creation. And then the next one is Modi, the man India trust in a crisis. Oh, the new paradigm of governance. I'm sorry, this is the section, and the second chapter under this section is Modi, the man India trust in a crisis. The trust on the leadership is very, very, very important. A dynamic leader wins the approbation of the people. Sometimes a country may be blessed with Mr. Perfect as its leader. This happened in India. I will not mention names. Huh? Mr. Perfect, an eminent economist, very brilliant person, as his leader. If everybody under Mr. Perfect is imperfect, I would say Mr. Perfect is perfectly imperfect. A leader should have perfect command over all his colleagues. And the zero tolerance for inefficiency and corruption should be clearly demonstrated by punishing those who make mistakes and encouraging those who perform. This is leadership. And we are all witness to this. Then, chapter 13 is agriculture, good but can be better. India's struggle to achieve rapid economic transformation is apt to be won or lost in the countryside. I don't know to convince you. The good thing about agricultural development now is highly qualified persons. There is a trend now, highly qualified persons who were holding coveted positions, very coveted positions in big organizations. After retirement, they all go back to their villages and convert the family land into dynamic forms. Not organic, now they use a different word, biodynamic organic forms. I know two friends in Tirunelveli district. One is owning 600 acres of dynamic farm, and another one, I think, 500 acres of dynamic farm. It's all traditional lands, owned by purchased by the great-great-grandfather and the parents owned it, and they're applying all types of new technologies there. They opt for digitization, then they go for digitalization, then they go for digital transformation of and the agricultural practices. Now they apply science and technology. That's the most important thing. I will give you one example. Take the example of oil palm. Oil palm was originally transplanted from West Africa to Malaysia. The palm oil tree, okay, this oil palm tree is still a tragedy in West Africa. Productivity is low, value addition is low, etc. etc. In Malaysia, which was transplanted from Africa, in Malaysia, it is a potential source of wealth creation. So what is the difference? Why Malaysia is doing better in palm oil than West Africa? Because Malaysia applied science and technology to each aspect of farm development and product development. Farm and product development. By making simple improvements in the management of the farms, they dramatically increase the productivity of each plant. So this is already happening in India. Highly qualified, highly educated people are running big farms. Even film actors, lose their chance. They are all developing farms and they apply science and technology. Now, When I say that digitalization, and digital transformation, these are all outcome of innovative management. Sometimes people think that these things lead to innovative management. No, these processes are outcome of innovative management. So there is a need to amplify capabilities and skills at the innovative management level to make digitalization, and digital transformation. Rapid economic transformation, what is needed is a unique blend of vision and action. Vision without action is a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. Fortunately, Modi ji has a unique blend of that, and the economy and the society benefit a lot. Thank you.